Hey folks, this is Josh, Stoney Ridge Farmer. Welcome back to the farm. Today we're going to go around the farm a little bit and we're going to visit other farms. We're going to talk a little bit about replanting trees. So here on the farm we cut around 100 acres last year and the year before, and we replanted trees in several areas. For our area where we live, the loblolly pine tree is the most popular tree to replant for harvest. We can harvest these trees in 30 to 35 years. We're going to take you around. We'll show you different trees at different ages. We'll show you the ones we planted last March. It is now January, so it's been just about a year. We'll show you what they look like at a year, at 3 years, and at several other different points in the life of the loblolly pine tree. So come along on the farm vlog today. We're going to learn a little bit together, and we'll go around and look at some trees. All right? Woo! Stoney Ridge. So this is a cutover. If you look around here, it's all brush, it's all stumps, it's all grass, it's all weeds, and there are tiny pine trees that we planted last March all over the place. About every 15 feet or so is a pine tree. Let's get down a little bit closer and we'll show you. Here we are at our first sapling. This is a loblolly pine tree sapling. We live in the Piedmont region of North Carolina, and this is the most commonly planted tree for harvest in our area. This is about a 16-inch tall tree. When it went in the ground, it was bare root, meaning no dirt with the roots. Basically, they stabbed a hole in the ground, open it up, drop it in, and step on it and close it up. This tree has basically doubled in size in the 9 or 10 months that it's been here. This tree will be harvestable in 30 to 35 years. It is the desirable tree around here to grow. I'll probably get one more cutting of these trees in my lifetime. We'll replant again and pass it on to our kids and grandkids. It's hard to believe that a tree this big is going to provide income for our family at retirement age. Folks, whether you know it or not, timber management is a big part of owning land and managing a farm. You want every square inch of your land to be working for you in some way. Now on our farm we cut nearly 100 acres and we only replanted about 35 acres or so. We're going to be clearing the rest of it for pasture land to raise our cattle. Let's go to the next farm and we'll see trees that are a little bit older. Okay folks, so we're to the next farm. This is my stepfather's farm. It's about 30 minutes from our farm. He cut his timber 1 year before us. So this is a 2-year-old loblolly pine tree right here, and it's about 36 inches tall. Now if you look back in behind me, you'll probably see some that are a little bit taller and some that are a little bit shorter. Some of these are upwards of 4 feet tall already after 2 years. Now we're going to head to a farm where you can see a 3-year-old tree. It's a huge difference. You're really going to be impressed. We're on my friend Brian's land here, and Brian had his timber cut 4 years ago, and the trees here were planted 3 years ago. This is the same loblolly pine tree that we were talking about a little bit earlier, and I'm 6'5", and this tree is higher than I can reach. So I have an 8-foot reach, so we're probably at about 9 feet at the 3-year mark. Really, really awesome. We've had a lot of rain over the last 2 years here. We had 64 inches of rain here, and we had, what, a 16-inch snow here recently?
Yeah, 16 to 18.
And you can see all the trees are kind of beat down. They took a bit of a hit. Brian here was saying that they might have even grown a little too fast for his comfort level because they're starting to bend over just a little bit. Now we're going to go to another farm and look at some trees that are a little bit older than this. I want to get you guys a good look at the age range of these trees and how fast they grow. They're very, very vigorous growers. So if you look down through here, Brian's trees look like they were planted a little bit more dense, but we're on the same forestry plan. All of this is planned very tightly with the U.S. Forest Service, and we get on a program for our farm that can save us money on our taxes by replanting trees. Pretty awesome. Folks, here we are on another friend of mine's land. It's about a 1,000-acre farm. We're here in Southwest Virginia now. We're only about 15 minutes away from our farm. We're right on the North Carolina-Virginia border. This is a loblolly pine tree, and this pine tree is somewhere in the neighborhood of 28 years old, 24 to 28 years old. It's 4 to 6 years out from harvest. The size of this tree is approximately 18 inches around. These trees have recently been thinned. In other words, you can see out through here, it's very open. They thin the trees at about 15 to 20 years in order to provide more nutrient from the soil to make these trees grow bigger. So you get a cutting at about 15 to 20 years and they thin it out. You get a little bit of cash from that. Then these guys mature and get huge over the next 5-6 years, and then they get cut, and then the whole cycle starts itself again. Now, my friend that owns this 1,000 acres here in Virginia also owns, collectively with their family, somewhere in the neighborhood of 10,000 acres. That's 10,000 acres of planted pine trees. They harvest a certain section of trees every year to provide sustenance for their family. So it's really, really cool. It's a great way to pass on a legacy to your family, and it's part of our goal on our farm is to have 1,000 acres so we can cut off 100 acres, 50 acres, 75 acres at a time in our retirement. Cool. Let's go to the next place. You're really going to be impressed with the size of these trees. They should have been cut 10 years ago. We're going to go see some 45-year-old loblolly pine trees. Awesome. Before we get out of this forest, I want you to notice these trees here. So these are 3, 4, 5-year-old trees that have come up since the thinning because there's more light on the forest floor right now. Now, if you look up into the canopy here, which is really, really impressive to me, these trees are starting to spread out up in the canopy. They'll open up, they'll get more nutrient from the sun, and they'll get more nutrient from the ground from where they've been thinned out, and that will enable the trees to grow bigger faster. All right, folks, here we are at our last stop on our forestry journey today. This is a tree that's way too old. It's gotten way too far. This is a loblolly pine tree, just like the other trees that we've been looking at. So we went from trees this tall to trees this big. The last tree that I went to was about twice as big as my hands could reach around. These trees were not managed. This forest was not managed. It was sold to the local community college, and they built a college. It's a big, beautiful forest, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of waste going on here. So once the trees start getting to this size, they're starting to rot inside, they're getting hollow, they're getting diseased, and they're just going to topple over on top of each other. The tops of these trees are really heavy, and when they get a snow load on them here in the south, they just fall over. So the biggest take-home message I want all you guys to realize is that if you buy land, you need to manage land. You need to manage every square foot, every square inch of that land, and make it work for you. This trees forestry will be our retirement on our farm. Thanks a lot for joining me here on the Stoney Ridge Farm, guys. Pound that subscribe button, pound that like button if you want to see more fun stuff like this. I thought I'd teach you just a little bit about forestry today and what our plans are with our farm in the future. Every square foot, every square inch of our farm has a use. Pretty cool. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time on the Stoney Ridge Farm. Woo! Now, guys, I know I said this forest was poorly managed, but it is just simply beautiful. I'm going to pan around right here. And again, this is my local community college. It's just beautiful in here. Check this out. The sun coming through those trees right there. What an awesome sight. Thanks a lot, guys. See you next time.